Let's go ahead and untie. Time-consuming project to get all these cameras set up and then untie the extension. Hopefully we're not going to need extensions every place we go, although these sandy beaches tend to be that way. We'll leave the extensions on deck though, because you never know. And I think the boat's stuck in the sand enough that I don't need to add power, so I'm leaving and just have it in neutral right now. I don't think there's any favored wind, maybe out that direction. A little bit of a northeast component I noticed this morning. We'll assume that that's what we have. And then I just pull a line up and get it behind that cleat in the bow. And then tie it off so that it doesn't get caught in the motor. Coil this line. And then I just lay that out so it's ready to go. And then we'll get this last one. Again, we got an extension. Do that first. All we needed was about 3 feet. I guess I had probably some other lines I could have used. Boat seems to be holding. Thank you, Lord. Little helpful things like that make a difference. You know, it's just, instead of struggling, you're able to get your work done and at leisure without a bunch of stress. Sometimes it doesn't work that nicely. But today, it's cooperating, so. This one I've got to go around my anchor buckets because you never know. I may have to anchor. This other spot that I'm going to today is not an established site. We don't know what we're going to be faced with when we get there. Although I did look at it a few years ago. And it looked okay. All right, we're ready for the plank. Oh, gotta untie it first. A lot of times I'll tie the gangplank so that it doesn't get dragged overboard. All right. There we go. We're set, folks. Autopilot is ready. I need the remote though. Field glasses, put those up here so I can reach them a little easier. And we're tracking. Pulls right out. That's nice. Very nice. All right, we can put that down. Beautiful day. Nice day to move down the lake. And we're going about 5 miles. All right, boat's towing. All is well in the world. No strong winds today. It looks like 5 to 7. Need to hook up the autopilot. And we're off. This is a trailhead for several trails. There's a loop there they call the Anderson Loop Trail. There's another one, I forget the name of it. It goes back in the interior. I've done the loop trail. I may do the other one. Not sure if I'm going to do it today or not. And I'm not really sure of the site that I'm going into. It's not established, like I said. I doubt whether there's a fire ring there, things like that. But we'll go in and check it out. There's another trail, I think, into this little bay here, just off to my right. We'll be coming back that way later. 85 feet deep, 46.5 degrees water temperature. Air temperature, last I looked, was in the 50s. So I think we'll shut down and then we'll turn this on when we get in there. And we'll see what this spot looks like. Well, we're going to go in here and check this island out. It doesn't have a name. They did have I don't see it here now, but there was an anchorage showing on the map here someplace. Dock's over there for the trailhead. I'll just swing you around here so you can see the cliffside over there. There's a dock ahead, and then there's a cliff. Trail comes down that cliff. That's the loop trail. I don't know that I'll do that one again. I'll probably do the other one. All right, we'll go outside the end here so we don't hit any rocks. And then we'll check on the back side here to see if we can find a spot to tie up. And then the idea is to dinghy over to the dock and hike the trail whenever I get around to it. But I gotta find a spot first to tie up. I gotta find a place where there's some smooth rocks and trees. That's kind of flat in there, but there's rocks on both sides of it. I don't like all those boulders. Okay, I could probably do that right up there by that tree. This looks better down here though, but there's no trees. It's all rock face. Although I might be able to use extensions and reach something. That might work, but I'm inclined to use this one and see if I can find enough trees or rocks to tie to. So let's go take a look. This one right here, I'm just coming up on it. There's a fairly smooth little bird there. I can't tell what it is. It's so small. Some kind of water bird. Okay, it's shallow here. So I could maybe use that rock and then a tree over here. So let's see if we can make that work. Okay, we got wind from the right, so that's going to push me down. So we got to favor upwind a little bit towards the rocks there on that side then. And then we're going to need power to hold it. I think I've got it, if I can find a balance to hold it. Use that boulder over there to tie it to. That'll hold it for now. Now I need to get the other one on. Going around too much on me. Where do I tie to another rock? I'll just tie that temporarily. And then get a bow line. Can I reach that rock up there? I don't know. Let's try it. No, I'm gonna need an extension. So we'll use this one. So it looks like rocks are the way to tie up here. All right, pull it around a little bit more that direction. one over here, and then we're good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, it looks like I picked a good spot. Fairly flat bottom of a rock. 7 feet off the stern. A little more open to the northeast though than I thought. Not as good. We're not supposed to get adverse winds, but then again, we weren't the other day there either when we did, so you never know what you're gonna get. So we'll play it by ear and see where it goes. Let's get things shut down. Warm here. Well, I hope the sound was working on that one as we came in. We went 4.4 miles, hour 20 minutes. We're in Anderson Bay, and we're anticipating taking the trails. I think they call it Cruiser Lake Trail. There's a couple of divisions. One that goes to Beast Lake, which I was on a couple of years ago and got myself in a little bit of trouble. So we'd probably only go down about where that intersection is and maybe to the campsite. Take a walk around the site here. It's pretty much all rock and kind of open a little bit to the northeast. I'm not pleased with that, but the winds are supposed to be light and variable, so I think it'll work. I thought it might be a little bit more protected back here than it is. All right, we'll walk up here. Anyway, up and through here, there's more rock and pathway out to the northeast corner of the island. That tree is still green, but it's downed. It must have been just downed recently because it doesn't show any sign of being dead yet, but there's no roots in the ground anymore. Yeah, let's walk over this way. There you get a little bit better idea of the exposure out to the northeast. More downed trees. Interesting how they're pulled up by the roots. A lot of boulders along here. It's kind of a nice place. Zoom in on that cliff over there. Trail goes along that ridge there of rock. It's called the Anderson Loop Trail. You can just barely see the dock on just beyond the tip of the island here, and the tree right on the end there. If you see that, beyond that there's a dock. Let's go down this way. All right, we'll go back up through here, and if I'm going to stay here 2 nights, so I'm going to have to change my plan a little bit in terms of where I'm going because, well, I don't know if I want to walk underneath that tree or not. Look at that. There's one leaning down on it, threatening to pull that thing out by the roots too. And it's dead, mostly. There's some green in it, but I think I'll go over this way. I don't think I want to go under that tree. Well, I was going to cut a few sticks of wood and split, and I may yet do that this afternoon here, but it's kind of warm right now. I think I'll let the sun go down a little bit more. Go down and have a snack. I'm not very hungry, but a little snack wouldn't hurt. Not sure what this is here. Anybody know what that is? It's almost like a vine, but it's just sitting here, so I don't know where it came from. So we'll go back down over to the boat and I'll show you where there's some wood that I'm planning to cut up. Over here is where this tree right there that's laying on its side, down and dead, that's the one I'm thinking of cutting up. And there's the dinghy. I'm real pleased with it so far. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it out today or not. I'd probably take a run someplace here. But I need to cut firewood. That's the assignment for this afternoon. So I can have a fire tonight. All right, that's enough. Good evening, folks. I'm sitting by the fire, waiting to start. I'm going to probably wait another hour or so before I do that. So just sitting here enjoying the quiet of the evening, looking for wildlife that might work along this shore, or eagles that might land in the trees around here. Kind of went out with the dinghy this afternoon and piddled around. Really enjoyable. Didn't really see any big critters, no bears, no moose, no eagles. Went down over to the dock to check that for tomorrow to make sure that, you know, what the tie-up arrangements will be while I'm up on the trail. And then I worked along the south shore. There's a campground on an island further down to the east. I went down that far and then went around that island and then came back. It's been generally good weather all day, warmer than the last couple of days. Usually I've been wearing a vest, a down vest, this time of day, yesterday and the day before. It's definitely warmer, but that also has a drawback in that if you're doing cutting wood like I was today, I cut a couple of sticks down here and split those, and they're laying out there right now on the rocks drying in the sun. And I'll probably cut a few more to take with me because the wood seems okay. We'll see how it burns. It was definitely dead and it was dry. It didn't look like it rot yet, maybe a little bit at the base. When it's warm like that, cutting up wood and splitting wood, it works up a sweat. And I just did a shower yesterday, so I didn't want to get too sweaty. And then that was another reason I didn't take the hike today, because the temperatures were up higher. And it was also middle day. I thought maybe I'll go in the morning and have a better chance of seeing some critters. That's the plan, because I'm doing a layover here. Or at least that's tentatively that's what it looks like as a layover. Then I'm going to have to make some adjustments in my planned itinerary, which is no big deal. I had thought about going down to Kettle Falls. The more I think about it, I'm not sure why. Last time I was there, I was in a small 16-foot aluminum boat with when I was renting a bigger houseboat up here. They didn't allow you to go down there with a houseboat, so I just went down with that little boat, and I didn't really think to go over to the falls to take a picture. Anyway, that may be passed up because of the timing. I'll go maybe one more step east. There's another trail I was planning to hike. I forget the name of it right now, but it's about probably 6-7 miles east. I may go over there and at least to hike that. I've hiked it before. It's a nice trail, but I figured, you know, when I'm up here, I like to hike some trails, and there's maybe a chance you might run across a moose or bear or wolf. That's always interesting. We'll probably go that far, and then we'll turn around and start moseying back to the west. We still have plenty of time, but I don't have a lot of layover days. I can't remember the count, maybe 3. And I've already done 2 if I stay here another night. Although after hiking tomorrow, it's possible for me to move on, I guess. Had pork roast and potatoes, salad, rolls, and white wine for dinner. Just a really beautiful evening, quiet. Everybody else is having a big Memorial Day weekend celebrations and probably fireworks and the whole works. I prefer right here what I've got right now. This is great, the kind of thing that I enjoy. The only thing that I would like to see is more critters, and I just don't see many up here. I'm hoping this wood that I split today will burn. You know, it was on the tree probably all winter, so there is some moisture in it, but I don't know if it's, that's why I lay it out on the sun here, because a couple hours in the sun sometimes helps soak up some of that moisture. I should say dry up some of that moisture. It's a little early, sun is still up, but I might as well enjoy it here while it's nice. I use 3 sheets of newspaper underneath, cover it with some kindling, a couple of small pieces of wood, and we'll see how it goes here. Hopefully it will light up nicely. I find the newspaper works very well for starter, so we'll see how it goes here. It's always a mystery as to how it's going to work. I got a lot of, the kindling had a lot of pine cones in it. That should help get hot, because there's a lot of sap in those cones. So you can see it lit off really good. The newspaper serves as a starter. I can carry those around in a plastic bag. I'll show it to you. No, I do not use a flint lighter or something. I just put a bag of these newspaper print in there and a good old grill lighter, and that's what I use. Nothing fancy. Easy to carry the newspaper. I got that idea from somebody else that left some of their paper out of sight up on Temagami one time. I thought that's a good idea. Just put some newspaper in a bag and keeps it dry. And you can see I got a really good fire out of that. Now, of course, that's the kindling, so we got to wait and see what the wood actually does. But if you can get a good hot start, there's some hope that, you know, it'll keep the wood going. But that's a pretty good fire. I had very good kindling for this with those pine cones. It really helps. And the woods that I did put in there seems to be burning pretty good. The idea is if you get this nice and hot to start with, then you're going to have some nice coals, and that's going to help keep the fire going. The kindling I just picked up in the woods. I didn't get it myself. It was just sitting there in the woods, and I grabbed it. Somebody else might have cut it. I don't know. It was just sitting there, and I saw all those cones, and I thought, boy, that's going to make really good kindling. The wood is burned down a little bit, or the kindling is burned down. So we'll take a piece of this wood and just try to keep it, feed it here initially until it gets a good set of coals. I went down to the boat, charged the outboard. I ran, what I figure, 75%, 25% of the battery I used, and I recharged it. It took about 2 hours and 40 minutes, I think, maybe a little less. And I just used my portable solar generator to do that. I don't even have to take the motor off or anything. So it works great. I'm really pleased with this new rig. I don't have any qualms about getting in and out of it, so it's much more stable than the kayak. Like I said, today I went, 3.2 miles, just motoring around looking. You know, I wouldn't have probably done that with a kayak, especially with a little breeze out of the northeast. I don't mind paddling in calm, but I don't like to paddle when there's much wind. I get these kindling over there that didn't get burned. There's some cones on here. Somebody left some good stirring sticks, so I'm taking advantage of those. This is not an official Park Service fire ring. This is obviously just a bunch of rocks that somebody put together. This is not an official campsite or boat site. It seemed like a good spot to go. It's close to the trailhead here, and I can use the dinghy to go over there in the morning to hike the trail. We got some pretty good start on the fire, so I think I'll grab a few pieces of bigger wood while it's hot. Wind direction is what I expected for wind, so I don't have it in my face. Went down and retrieved some Baileys, so I'm finishing off the evening with a little Baileys for a treat. Well, it's not going to get dark before I run out of wood, so we'll just have to make do with what we've got. I've got 3 sticks left. Sun is working to go down here shortly, but I forget exactly what time it is. It's 7:45 p.m., so we've got at least another hour and a half before sundown. So We won't make it. That's okay. It's starting to cool off, and my little fleece vest is not going to make up. Even being close to the fire, it's not enough. The wood is not terribly hot burning. It is burning, but it's not very hot. I noticed the rocks are very open here, so it's not as efficient as the fire ring was last night or the last couple of days. It doesn't hold the heat in very well, so I keep watching the shoreline and see no activity. I forgot to mention that when I did go out with the dinghy earlier on that little exploration trip, I did run into a beaver. I took a picture of a very large lodge that was probably 6 to 8 feet tall. It was very large. And then that wasn't where I saw the beaver. It was further on, but I did see a beaver. So I kind of was wondering, because all of them didn't have a lot of fresh cuttings around them. Usually when they're, of course this is early in the year, so they would do that more in the fall. I'm not sure if they were all had residents or not. Just a beautiful summer evening, although it's not technically summer, I guess. Memorial Day and after, usually I consider that summer. So Memorial Day is tomorrow. We'll call her quits tonight. I've got a few more minutes here of fire, but it's not going to get dark before the fire's out. And we'll check back with you in the morning, and then whether we'll continue on in the afternoon or stay another night. So we'll talk to you then. Take care. Have a good night.